shit up.
Talking about?
Bro, this is what the I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Pregnancy test?
Yeah, stop playing with me, because you know I got a vasectomy. I can't even have no kids. I have a whole vasectomy.
You do know after a certain period of time, it can happen again.
Please, gentlemen, listen to me when I say this. Do not let your emotions get you so off-kiltered that you do something.
Hired. The starting salary is $60,000. Yes, thanks, boss. I'd like that Louis Vuitton purse, please, and let's throw in the wallet. Your total comes out to $3,000. Isn't it about time you retire? No, I've got bills, but you've made so much money in your career. Yeah, and the more I made, the more I spent.
This is from a neurosurgeon who wishes to share his story. Let me just summarize what he said over here. He met his ex-wife in medical school. He had just graduated from Harvard at the age of 22, and she was his first girlfriend. I'm assuming this, as you know, he lost his virginity to. And maybe the same for her. We don't know. There were a lot of red flags. She clearly had borderline personality disorder. Daddy issues. Her father went to a federal prison for 4 years while she was in college for bank fraud. And she was also a pathological liar. You'll notice that the apple doesn't usually fall far from the tree. If there are problems in the parental units, and she grew up in that household, that was the standard she set for her life. Now this person is a smart guy. He went to medical school and is, I believe, a neurosurgeon. Despite his spider senses picking up on it, he continues to accept her excuses for the various lies she told. She told me it was her first time when we met, but it turned out she had been with 4 other guys before I met her. And if I'd have found out right before the wedding, I would have called the wedding off. He claims her excuse was that she had been raped and had fallen into a downward spiral, which is complete nonsense. He continues, we had 2 sons, now 21 and 19 together. She became extremely abusive shortly after the birth of our first son. Had he dated her for a little longer, abuse would have been a big red flag. So before you do anything like march into a slaughterhouse of marriage, date for at least 1.5 years to 2 years to see what she's made of. You don't get to know someone in 2 months. You're dating the actor, the representative. She got her first job as a dermatologist, and since I was still in residency, she began to belittle me and use her position as the family breadwinner for 3 years to bully me into beta status. We relocated, and I became the breadwinner as a neurosurgeon, but the abuse continued. Despite this, I had a wonderful relationship with my sons. After about 10 years, I couldn't take it any longer and mentally prepared to leave quietly, divorce her, and move on. When I was looking for Disneyland tickets for my kids on the family computer in mid-2013, I discovered that she had left her email open, and I discovered a file containing a treasure trove of adult videos she had made with another guy. I was stunned. She was constantly passing herself off as religious and pious, and she was constantly judging how other women or girls my kids went to school with had skirts that were too short. Despite the fact that she's married to this man, she's making adult content with other guys. I tried to divorce her, but she kept threatening to kill herself. While most men would have simply walked away and let her be, he agreed to another 18 months of torture. Continues, when she claimed an overdose on benzos, we worked out a post-natural agreement, giving her the $6 million mortgage-free house for another decade while I paid half the cost, primary physical custody of the kids, and another $1 million to get the kids through high school. When I realized she was still having an affair, I filed for divorce in 2015 and moved out of the house into a small apartment, having given virtually everything I owned to this animal. He's now calling her an animal, and she's already lying to the kids about why dad moved out. Parental alienation occurs when the mother fabricates stories about how bad the father is, which are almost always false. I was depressed and almost hopeless until mutual family and friends approached me. She told me such outrageous lies that I threatened to use the video to force her into a one-sided divorce agreement. I was persuaded based on these lies, but it was eventually thrown out in the legal system, and that his office became aware of her attempts to extort me and her perjury in the matter. Despite ample evidence and sworn statements, they did nothing. I'm telling you, women get away with so much in family law. We're almost done. The assistant doc called me and told me that in this climate, in the state that he lived in, which is a very liberal state by the way, it would be difficult to get a perjury conviction on her attorney, and that she was a side bearer, which had been extensively discussed internally in the DES office. My ex-wife was in charge of cash receipts for my practice and stole $800,000 in cash over the course of 8 years. Oh wait, it gets worse, and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on her purses, shoes, personal travel to see her boyfriend, and first-class international airline tickets for her parents while we were married. I'm sure she stashed some of the money in a safe somewhere without my knowledge. There is no limit to the lengths to which a crazy woman will go to ruin a good man. There are a few takeaways here. A man should never marry before the age of 33. Every man should be aware of borderline personality disorder. You should never stay in a marriage with a crazy woman for the sake of the children. And every man, no matter what, should have a prenup. That's just one example of the millions of divorces that occur in North America each year. Take a look and be careful, guys. That's all for today. I hope you learned something from his experience. Don't forget to hit the like button to help spread the word about this video. Thank you for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember that a red pill a day keeps bad poker hands away. So have a good rest of your day and cheers.